So, what if I told you that relying on your own natural creativity is actually like the absolute worst possible strategy for building your personal brand?
Yeah, that's going to sound completely backwards to a lot of people.
Right. I mean, you know that feeling. We all do. You're sitting at your desk. Maybe it's the end of a really grueling Tuesday, or maybe it's just first thing in the morning before the chaos starts,
Yeah.
and you are just staring at a blank screen.
The blinking cursor of doom.
Exactly. Just taunting you. And, you know you need to be out there, you need to build this elusive thing called the brand, but you just have absolutely no idea what to post. It's overwhelming, it's dread.
It's the paralysis of the blank page.
Mm.
And honestly, it happens because you're operating under this false assumption that you need to be a creative genius every single time you open a social media app.
Like you have to be struck by lightning every day.
Right. You're waiting for inspiration to strike. And inspiration is notoriously unreliable.
Which is exactly why we're pulling from a really specific stack of sources for today's deep dive. We are looking at Module 9 from the Blueprint for Personal Brand Growth, and we're really zeroing in on their methodology for building a personal brand growth system.
Yeah, that word system is key there.
It totally is, because today is all about taking that abstract, anxiety-inducing nightmare of, like, putting yourself out there and turning it into an actionable, predictable machine.
And if there is one single sentence that you take away from all the material we've sifted through today, it's basically the core thesis of this entire module.
Yeah.
And that is personal branding works when it becomes a system, not random posting.
Not random posting.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that right there is the dividing line between amateurs who just burn out and professionals who actually manage to scale.
Okay, but system is one of those words that sounds, I don't know, fantastic in a boardroom. But we really need to unpack what it actually means for you, the person who's just staring at that blinking cursor right now.
Yeah.
So our mission today is to completely deconstruct this blueprint. We're going to move from the micro level, like what you're actually posting on a random Wednesday afternoon, all the way up to the macro level business metrics.
The stuff that proves this is actually, working.
Right. The stuff that proves this whole endeavor is putting money in your pocket.
So we have to start at the foundational layer. If you want to cure that blank page syndrome we were just talking about, you have to completely remove the cognitive load of decision making.
Which is so exhausting.
It is. And the source material builds this foundation using a really strict weekly cadence. Basically, it's a predictable Monday through Friday schedule.
Okay, let me just run through the exact schedule the text lays out just to, get it on the board for everyone.
Go for it.
Okay, so Monday is a market update, Tuesday is a property tour, Wednesday is an investment tip, Thursday is a local area update, and Friday is a client story.
Now, obviously, looking at that really specific list, like property tour, local area, update the source material is heavily leaning into a real estate or property-focused example.
Yeah, that's pretty clear.
But the literal examples aren't actually what matters here. What matters is the underlying psychology behind this specific rotation.
Looking at it, it really makes me think of meal prepping.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Like on a Sunday afternoon, you chop the vegetables, you grill the chicken, you portion everything out into those little glass containers. And you don't do that because you love doing dishes on a Sunday.
No, nobody loves that.
Right. You do it because you know that on Wednesday night, when you are just completely exhausted from work, if you don't have a system already in place in the fridge, you're going to eat junk food.
You're ordering the pizza.
Exactly. I'll order pizza every time. So this weekly cadence, it's basically content meal prep. It prevents you from posting junk content just because you feel obligated to, feed the algorithm.
I love that. The meal prep analogy works perfectly. But let's actually take it a step further, because if you just prep plain chicken and white rice for 5 days straight, you're still going to get bored by Wednesday.
Yeah, I'd still order the pizza.
Right. So the system works because it demands different flavors of content throughout the week. So let's look at the emotional and intellectual journey that you're taking the audience on.
Okay, lay it out.
So Monday is a market update. Think about what that actually achieves. It's analytical data. It establishes your authority right out of the gate.
Like this, you're leading with facts.
Exactly. You are telling your audience, hey, I understand the macro environment. I am analyzing the trends.
So you're positioning yourself as the smart, reliable expert before anyone else has even finished their first cup of coffee on Monday?
There you go. And Tuesday arrives, and you shift gears entirely. A
Yeah.
property tour. This is highly visual, it's aspirational, it's engaging the senses. You proved you're smart on Monday, so on Tuesday, you're giving their brain a bit of a break. You're showing them something tangible and just visually interesting to look at.
Which makes sense, because if you just did market updates 5 days a week, your audience would be completely exhausted.
Oh, they drop off immediately.
Yeah, it would be like sitting in an economics lecture. Every single day, people would just tune out and scroll right past you.
They absolutely would. So that's why Wednesday pivots again to an investment tips. Now you are moving from like passive observation to direct, actionable value.
Giving them a quick win.
Exactly. Something they can apply to their own life or business immediately.
Like, here's a piece of advice you can use right this second.
Right. And then Thursday shifts the focus outward with a local area update.
Yeah.
This moves the spotlight off of your direct expertise and onto the community itself.
Okay, so making it less about you.
Yeah, it grounds you in a specific physical environment or a specific industry niche. It shows that you aren't just this transaction machine operating in a vacuum. You're actually plugged in to the fabric of the environment you work in.
And then we finally land on Friday, the client story.
This is where you bring the entire week home. A client story is pure, unadulterated, emotional, social proof.
It's the feel-good moment.
Exactly. After a week of data and visuals and actionable tips and community focus, you end the week with a narrative about a real human being whose life was actually made better by your expertise.
So it connects all those cold analytical dots with a human heartbeat.
Beautifully said, yes.
So, okay, by following the psychological rotation, you're basically creating a fundamentally well-rounded three-dimensional brand.
You are.
You're analytical, you're visual, you're helpful, you're connected, and you are proven. And you're doing it in a way that doesn't just, burn out your audience's attention span.
Because the flavor changes every single day.
Right. And you never have to wake up and ask, what should I post today? You just wake up and say, hey, it's Wednesday. Wednesday is actionable tip day.
The decision is already made. You just have to execute the recipe.
Okay, so meal prepping your content cures the blank page. We know what we are posting now. But having a recipe doesn't necessarily mean you know how to feed a massive crowd.
That is a very valid point.
Right. Knowing how to cook in your kitchen is very different from running a commercial kitchen line. So we really need to talk about volume, because consistency isn't just about the topic, it's about the sheer amount of output.
Yeah, and this is where the system gets some real teeth. Because
Yeah.
the blueprint outlines specific monthly branding goals, and honestly, the numbers are pretty substantial.
I think substantial might be an understatement. Let me just read the exact monthly quotas this source demands, because it's a lot.
Let's hear.
Okay. Each month, you are aiming to publish 12 to 16 posts. You need to create 8 to 10 short-form reels. You must record 4 long-form YouTube videos. And wait for it, you are expected to share daily WhatsApp updates.
It is a highly robust, multi-platform machine.
Wait, I have to stop you right there. I really need to push back on this heavily.
Okay, pushback.
Because look, 12 to 16 posts, 8 to 10 reels, a weekly YouTube video, fine, I get it. That is just modern digital marketing. That's the cost of entry today.
Sure.
But daily WhatsApp updates, I mean, my WhatsApp is sacred ground.
A lot of people feel that way.
It's from my mom, my closest friends, maybe like a group chat for a weekend trip. If some professional is messaging me every single day on WhatsApp, I am blocking them instantly.
Naturally.
Aren't they crossing a massive line from, like, helpful expert straight into annoying spammer?
That is the absolute natural knee-jerk reaction. And I will say, if you execute it poorly, you will absolutely be blocked. 100%.
Okay, so why do it?
Because to understand why the blueprint insists on this, we have to break down the different mediums. They're not all doing the same job. You have to view this as a multi-layered strategy that's attacking different levels of audience intent.
Okay, break that down for me.
Let's start at the widest part of the funnel, the 12 to 16 posts and those 8 to 10 reels. What is the actual psychological function of those platforms?
Well, I mean, that's your broad reach. That's just the algorithm throwing your face out to total strangers who are doom scrolling on their morning commute.
Exactly. Those platforms are optimized for retention and pattern interruption. They are pure top-of-funnel awareness.
Getting eyeballs.
Right. Reels and posts are designed to capture the attention of people who do not even know you exist. It is a very high-volume, low-intimacy environment.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But you can't build a sustainable business solely on strangers swiping past your face. You have to move them to the middle layer, which is the 4 YouTube videos a month.
Now, YouTube is a completely different beast, right? Because it's search-driven.
Exactly. Think about the physical posture of a user on YouTube versus, say, Instagram. On Instagram, you're leaning back, you're passively swiping.
Zoning out.
Right. But on YouTube, you're leaning in. You are actively typing a query into literally the world's second largest search engine.
Like how to invest in commercial real estate.
Or, what are the zoning laws in my city? When someone sits down to watch a 10-minute video, their intent is massive. They are actively seeking deeper knowledge. So YouTube is where you build deep authority and actual trust.
Okay, I follow the logic so far. Reels catch the strangers, YouTube builds the trust, but you still haven't justified invading my sacred inbox.
I knew you were going to bring it back to WhatsApp.
You have to defend the daily WhatsApp, and honestly, don't just give me the theory. I want a concrete example. What does a non-annoying daily WhatsApp message actually sound like?
Fair enough.
Because if it's just, hey, happy Tuesday, just checking in to see if you want to buy my services, I am still blocking you.
And you should block them for that. Here is where the distinction lies. WhatsApp is the ultimate high-intimacy direct access medium. The blueprint is not suggesting you go buy a list of cold phone numbers and blast them with marketing copy.
Okay, that's a relief.
This is the VIP room. This is for an opted-in, highly engaged segment of your audience. Your hottest leads, your active investors, your inner circle, who have explicitly asked for close contact.
Oh, I see. So it's not a billboard on the highway, it's more like a private club.
Exactly. And a daily message in a private club isn't spam, it's premium service.
Give me that concrete example, though.
Okay, imagine you're a real estate broker. Your daily WhatsApp to your VIP investor list isn't some polished marketing graphic. It's a raw 20-second voice note.
Just a quick audio message.
Right, just saying something like, hey, I'm standing outside a commercial property on 4th Street. It hasn't hit the market yet. The seller is motivated. And based on the zoning changes we talked about last week, this is a prime opportunity. Let me know by noon if you want the details before you take it public.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, if I'm an investor, I do not want to miss that message.
No, you are actively checking your phone for that message.
Right.
The reason the system demands all 3 tiers, the Reels, the YouTube, and the WhatsApp, is because it creates a complete self-sustaining ecosystem.
Covers all the bases.
Right. You have the algorithmic net catching new blood, the deep dive content building unshakable trust, and the intimate channel driving immediate high-value action with your absolute warmest contacts.
Okay, that makes perfect sense now, because if you only focus on WhatsApp, your business eventually dies because, well, no new blood is entering the system.
Right, the well dries up.
And if you only focus on Reels, you might go incredibly viral, you might be internet famous, but you'll be completely broke.
Because you haven't built any deep relationships or mechanisms to convert that attention.
Exactly. The system requires that tension between broad reach and intimate connection.
You literally need the entire engine running to pull a stranger all the way from a passive swipe to a closed deal.
Which naturally brings us to the final, and frankly, I think the most critical part of this entire blueprint, the reality check.
Oh, this is where the rubber meets the road.
It is. We've meal prepped our weekly content. We've built this massive multi-platform volume engine. But how do you actually know if all this exhausting effort is working?
Because it is a lot of work.
It's so much work. And if you aren't measuring it correctly, you're just screaming into the digital void.
Yeah, it's a massive investment of your time and your energy.
Yeah.
And if you were just guessing at your success based on like how you feel on a given day, you aren't running a business.
Right.
The source material is actually ruthless about this.
Yeah.
It gives us 4 and only 4 very specific metrics to track to measure brand growth.
Let me list them out. The text says you must track follower growth,
No.
engagement, inbound inquiries, and client meetings.
Notice what isn't on that list.
Yeah, no impressions.
Right. There's no mention of reach or how many times a video was shared, just those 4 core pillars.
Well, looking at those 4, I immediately see 2 very different categories of human behavior happening there.
How so?
I want to use like a dating and marriage analogy here to map this out. Let's call it a relationship funnel.
Okay, I like where this is going. Let's hear how you categorize them.
So the first 2 metrics on the list are follower growth and engagement. In the dating world, getting a new follower or getting a like on your post that is simply making eye contact across the room at a crowded party,
Right.
or maybe having a really quick, witty 2-sentence exchange by the snack table.
It's highly superficial. I mean, it's a signal of interest, sure, but nothing more.
Right. And it feels great. It strokes the ego. It means you wore a nice shirt and you look good in that lighting. But making eye contact at a party does not mean you are going to spend your life together.
Not at all.
Those are surface metrics. I think the industry calls them vanity metrics.
They do.
But the last two on the list, inbound inquiries and client meetings, that is someone actually walking up and asking for your number. That is going on a real date. That is entering into a committed, high-stakes business relationship.
And the problem is, most creators and professionals get completely trapped chasing the dopamine hits of those first two metrics.
It's so easy to do.
It is. They obsess over the eye contact because it's public and it's super validating. But real professionals only judge the health of their brand by the bottom two metrics.
Because that's what pays the bills.
Exactly. And these four numbers, they aren't just isolated data points on a spreadsheet. They form a sequential chain reaction. You actually have to use them as a diagnostic dashboard to figure out where your system is broken.
Okay, diagnosing the system. Walk us through that. What does that actually look like for someone sitting at home looking at their monthly analytics on a Sunday night?
Well, let's use your dating analogy. Let's play out scenario A.
Okay.
You look at your metrics at the end of the month. Your follower growth is through the roof. Your engagement, the likes, comments, retweets is massive. You are the absolute life of the party. Everyone in the room is making eye contact with you.
I mean, sounds like a dream scenario. I went viral. I'm a star.
But then you look at the bottom two metrics. 0 inbound inquiries. 0 client meetings.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I'm incredibly popular, but I'm basically going home alone.
You are viral, but you are broke.
Ouch.
And worse, you are wasting an immense amount of time filtering through unqualified direct messages and comments from people who have zero intention of ever actually doing business with you.
Which is exhausting.
Right. But this tells you exactly where your system is broken. It means your top-of-funnel content, your trendy reels, your flashy property tours is highly entertaining. It's successfully generating attention.
But it's failing to convert.
Exactly. It is entirely failing to build the trust and authority required to drive a business action. You aren't giving people a compelling reason to actually ask for the date.
So in that scenario, the data tells you exactly what you need to fix. You don't need more flashy hooks. You need to lean much harder into your Wednesday investment tips. You need to push that massive audience toward your long-form YouTube videos so they actually see your depth and your expertise, not just your flash.
Exactly. You literally shift your recipe from entertainment to authority.
Okay, that makes sense.
Now, let's look at scenario B, the reverse situation.
Okay.
You check your metrics. Your follower growth is basically flat. Your engagement is just embarrassingly low, just crickets on your posts.
My ego is completely bruised. I feel like a massive failure.
But look at the bottom of the dashboard. In that exact same month, you got 3 high-quality inbound inquiries, and you booked 2 serious client meetings.
Okay, so I'm not getting a lot of eye contact at the party, but the very few people I do talk to immediately want to enter a serious relationship with me.
Bingo. This means your system is actually incredibly healthy at the bottom, but it's starved for oxygen at the top. You have massive trust, you have incredible authority, but you have terrible visibility.
Oh, wow. So the fix there is pretty obvious then. You need to turn up the volume engine on the algorithm.
Exactly.
You need to focus on reach, make better, punchier reels, post more often, just get your face in front of more strangers.
That's it. And I mean, the beauty of this diagnostic approach is that it completely takes all the emotion out of personal branding.
Because it's just data.
Right.
Yeah.
You are never sitting there feeling like a failure just because one post flopped. You just look at the dashboard, you have a drop-off between engagement and inquiries, and because you have an actual system, you know exactly which lever to pull to fix the bottleneck.
It's incredibly empowering, honestly. It transforms content creation from this mystical, draining art form into a very manageable science.
It really does.
So let's just quickly recap the journey we've taken through this blueprint today.
Let's do it.
We started by curing the anxiety of the blank screen by adopting a really predictable weekly theme. You know, Monday facts, Friday feelings, and everything in between. You prep your content exactly like you prep your meals so you never have to rely on inspiration again.
And then we scaled that foundation up by committing to the volume and variety engine. We understood the distinct psychological purpose of each platform.
Yeah, like the 12 to 16 posts for the algorithmic reach.
Exactly. The YouTube videos for that deep dive search intent, and then the highly curated daily WhatsApp updates for VIP access and immediate action.
And finally, we grounded all of that effort in reality by tracking the relationship funnel.
the metrics.
Right. We ruthlessly monitor the journey from a superficial follower to a committed client meeting using just those 4 key metrics to diagnose and repair the system whenever the machine stalls out.
Implementing this blueprint fundamentally changes your relationship with your own brand. It removes the dread. You don't have to wait for a lightning bolt of inspiration. You just have to run the machine.
Just run the machine.
Yeah, and when you do, your personal brand ceases to be a vanity project, and it actually becomes a measurable, predictable, scalable business asset.
It really is a masterful framework. It absolutely solves the exact problem we started with. But, looking at how perfectly engineered and frictionless this all is, it leaves me with one final thought.
Oh,
Just something for you to ponder as you start building your own growth system based on these sources.
let's hear it.
Okay, so if you do this perfectly, if you completely automate and systematize your content using this exact blueprint, you hit every platform, you track every single metric, you never miss a Wednesday tip.
Right.
Does the true magnetic differentiator of your personal brand actually become the unscripted, spontaneous moments? Like the little flaws, the human quirks, the messy behind-the-scenes stuff that somehow just slips through the cracks of this perfect system?
That's a really interesting point.
Because if everyone in your industry is running the machine flawlessly, maybe it's the ghost in the machine, the unpredictable humanity that actually makes people fall in love with you.
I mean, the system builds the foundation, and
Yeah.
it guarantees that you're in the room.
Yeah.
But it is the humanity that actually builds the connection.
Exactly. But of course, until you have the system running, no one is around to see the humanity anyway.
True.
You're just a ghost without a machine. So, the next time you are sitting in the dark and that cursor is just blinking at you, you don't have to panic.
No panic.
You don't have to reinvent the wheel or summon your inner creative genius. You just have to look at the calendar, see that it's Wednesday, and run the system.